I'm Toba Spitzer. I serve at the Congregation Dorset Tzedek in West Newton, and it's my 28th year here. Sound good, you guys. So I started Sidwell as a 7th grader. At the time, I wouldn't have said this, but in retrospect, I really liked meeting for worship. I really liked silent meeting. There was a progressive politics sort of woven in with the anti-war and pacifist tradition. And intellectually, I think, there was a lot of intellectual stimulation. And then parallel to Sidwell, I started going to a socialist Zionist youth movement camp. That was really my ideological and sort of social center. I went to Israel after high school, and really since that year, my entire adult life have been involved in efforts for Israeli-Palestinian peace and justice. I came into the rabbinate sort of out of the social community organizer. I wanted to be doing social change work from a moral perspective. I had no idea what a rabbi did, which was probably good. And I came to the Boston area in 1997, to Dorset Tzedek. It's been my one and only congregation. I was its first rabbi. It was about 50-some households. Today, we're about 270 households. Being able to lead services that include music, that's a big part of, for me, the draw of Judaism and Jewish prayer is the music. I think the first time I performed publicly was at a Sidwell talent show, and I wrote and directed a couple musicals while I was at Sidwell, so music has been an important part of my life. In 2007, I was the first LGBTQ person to become the head of a national rabbinic association. In our movement, that was actually not a very big deal. And I was like, I know, it's not a big deal for our movement, but I think it's a big deal for American Jewry. I and my congregation have been involved in a lot of issues over the years: healthcare, affordable housing, immigration, LGBTQ issues, and now I think a lot of attention on defending democracy. We're a very big tent on Israel-Palestine, and that's hard, but we do it. In 2022, I published God is Here, Reimagining the Divine. I was wrestling with, how do I talk about God to people who are highly educated Jewish people who are based in science and just can't accept a God that is a, big person up in the clouds. And so I went back to our sources in Judaism, and I found all these other wonderful metaphors: God as water, as fire, as cloud, as place, as voice. I say this humbly, I feel like the book came through me, and I think it's been life-changing for a lot of people, and that's been really heartening, because I think that word God was getting in the way of people's spiritual lives, and it didn't need to be. I think now that we're in this incredibly difficult time, in order to stay in the struggle for peace and justice and freedom, we deeply need spiritual practice. Without that, we're not going to be grounded. And we also can't sit on the sides. So we need our spiritual practice to meet our activism, and we need our activism to incorporate our spiritual practice. And I think that's what I've learned, in my now over 30 years of, being in this realm, that we really need both. I think there's letting my life speak in those small ways, like can I be present to someone in the way I need to be present? And can it speak by, living my values, whether it's showing up at the Gaza border or creating a community where people feel welcomed, I think would be what I would consider letting my life speak. Hallelujah.